Folks, if you live in a part of the world where they put salt on the roads in the winter, you might have to do some serious spring cleaning in a few weeks. But that cleaning may be different and for different reasons than you think. In other words, it involves more than a quick trip through a car wash. Here are some things that may surprise you about road salt. First myth is that salt by itself damages paint. Well, that's only true in a very limited way. If you follow a salt spreader or another vehicle too closely, the hard salt crystals can be thrown up with enough force to chip your paint. Other than that, salt needs some other things to damage your car. First is, it needs a wet place to hide. So those stone and, yes, salt chips in your paint often provide that place. If you don't seal chips in your paint, salt can get under the edge of the paint, around the chip, and every time it rains, the salt gets wet, and wet salt is active salt. In other words, the moisture causes the salt to eat into the metal under the paint, and before long, you have a blister in the paint around the chip. Let it go long enough, and you have a rust hole in the metal and a major repair. Now, when you get paint chips, at least seal them with clear touch-up paint from your auto parts store. No place for salt to collect if the edges of the chip are sealed, and no salt means no corrosion. All right, another misconception is that the gloppy wet salt is what does the most damage, but that may not be right because wet, salty water only gets into places where water can reach, which is somewhat limited. The real problem comes from salt dust. You've seen it. Winter has passed, the days are sunny and dry, and as you follow other cars down the road, you can see a cloud of salt powder billowing from under them as they move along. Higher speed means a bigger cloud of salt dust. Now, salt dust is not like salty water. No, indeed, because where salty water can't get into lots of the areas of the car, salt dust, it gets everywhere. The dust gets into every crack and crevice. It gets between pieces of metal and sits there until the change in temperature between night and day combined with humidity from the air causes condensation to form. That condensation combines with the salt dust, and because the water activates the salt, it begins its insidious destruction of your car. Remember that salt dust can get into places where water never gets unless the water is under high pressure, like from a garden hose, a pressure washer, high pressure car wash, or something similar. That means to get rid of the really damaging stuff, you need to aim your garden hose into all the cracks and crevices, tiny openings where moldings meet body metal, and so on. All the places you normally wouldn't directly aim a spray of water. When you do this, move very slowly so the water has time to flush out the salt dust. Also, use a lawn sprinkler under the car to thoroughly rinse its underbelly. Start at one end of the car with the sprinkler and allow it to run for 3 or 4 hours, not 3 or 4 minutes. Then move it to the center for another 3 or 4 hours, then finally the opposite end of the car. Thoroughly flushing every nook and cranny of your car will help eliminate corrosion caused by salt, salt brine, and salt dust. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Goss's Garage on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and for more car tips, tricks, and money-saving ideas, visit goss-garage.com. Drive gently. See you next time right here in Goss's Garage.